Welcome back to Matchday Live with me, Cel Spellman, and it is full time at the Etihad Stadium. As you can see, the Leeds players there taking a huddle. They, I'm sure, will be happy with at least the performance they've seen, but it wasn't quite enough to get those 3 points. Manchester City coming out as winners, winning 2-1 here at the Etihad Stadium, which does increase that gap now between them and Arsenal to 4 points, having both played 34 games. Manchester City are on 82 points, Arsenal on 78, of course, to go to St James's Park tomorrow. We'll get onto that in just a moment. But Keith, I mean, 2-1, but those last 10 minutes were a little bit nervy after more or less dominating the first 80-85 minutes.
Yeah, and I think possession-wise, the stats are there to prove the dominance of City. The penalty miss will obviously be a talking point, because you're thinking, well, Haaland's a penalty taker, he's been taking them and scoring them. You understand the emotion, the player's emotion of Gundogan giving him his hat-trick, but the manager's point of view will be, that's what happens when you let players make decisions.
Yeah.
It's one of those, no, you're the penalty taker, take it, score it, win the game 3-0.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you open the door, and again, nobody really saw the goal coming, the 2-1, but that's football. So it can be a dangerous game.
Yeah, it's so up and down, and fine margins as well, isn't it? And it was fine margins because the penalty miss happened, and then 90 seconds, Leeds are up the other end of the pitch. I think having fashioned a chance in the whole game, and it's 2-1 over all of a sudden. It was a well taken goal though.
Decent goal for Leeds. I mean, Sam Allardyce will be delighted with what he's come away from here with today. They've not been soundly beaten. He's seen something from his players. They've given him performance. They're in front of the fans there celebrating because they're putting a performance, and they've had a new manager bounce. Performances coming into this game, you'd expect them to get soundly beaten today. Listen, possession-wise, they did. Before the goal, we were looking at the stats in here. I looked at the stats. 83% possession for City. Leeds had 17% possession. I mean, if they got anything today, it'd have been a travesty. But actually, the way he set them up in the second half, the changes that he made, he'll be pleased. They were a lot more positive. They showed the manager that there is character there, there's strength of character there, and he's got something to work on. He never came here today expecting to win the game. I don't think anybody expected Leeds to get anything today. In fact, I don't think even the most optimistic of Leeds fans today would have said we'll only get beaten by 1.
No, and I mean, it was just 1. How disappointing do you think? Maybe not disappointed, but will there be a frustration maybe amongst Pep and the players as in to go, why did it feel so nervy at the end? We should have just seen it out and finished it professionally.
Again, I think there'll be a frustration, but the job was done. They've won the game. They have got some big games coming up now, and they're aware of that. Some of the changes before the game illustrates that as well. But both managers will take the positives out of the result today, for sure. Like I say, Paul just touched on it there, Sam. He's had a good look at his squad today, a good understanding. He's come to the potential champions of the Premier League, and they haven't been disgraced. They've been outplayed, but that's not a disgrace in itself as well, because a lot of teams come here and get outplayed, out-dominated in possession of the ball, and don't get a positive result. So there's positives to take from Sam there, going into their remaining fixtures, something to work with. Pep, it's another game ticked off. It's 3 points in the bag. Yeah, there's talking points. There'll be things that they know that they can improve on, but the emphasis and the flow of his team, squad, how they play, is evident again.
Especially there with 7 changes as well, Brown. He was just saying there, obviously, slightly nervy end to the
Seamless game. Seamless though, only 2 become 3 all of a sudden. Seamless.
I always have this one where
that's television, baby.
It's a long way from the commentary position. I'm out of breath here.
No, but he was slightly nervy, Brownie, but job done, as Keith has just said there.
Yeah, do you know what? You're going to expect some sort of fight for Leeds United in that second half. I mean, it should have been out of sight, shouldn't it? There should have been 5 or 6 goals. The penalty decision of who took it will be a big talking point, whether it should have been Haaland, should have been Riyad, Mahrez. But listen, he's hit the post. I think we've seen some great chances from City. And you've got to have those sort of days to win a Premier League right at the end of the season. Disappointment with Ake, that'll be the one negative that we look, isn't it, going forward into the Real Madrid games. But I think it was a great performance for City. Yes, it should have obviously been more goals, but the way they controlled it, I think with all the changes, I think it was a brilliant performance.
Just said, Brian, it's 83% possession.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It would have been a travesty if they hadn't come away with the win, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's similar though as well. We've seen it a few times. I mean, the Northampton game was similar. If you remember, after the Arsenal total domination, how many shots on target ended up 1-1. You just never know with football, do you? Just looking at the key moments of the game then, before the penalty, where, as we said, it was given to Gundogan, who missed, but it was a penalty on Foden, Paul.
Yeah, it looked a penalty, and I think it's strange, isn't it? Because those 2 minutes, that 5 minutes, literally could have changed the game completely. Missed penalty, Leeds go down the other end, get the goal. Scores the penalty, it's 3-0, it's game over. Yeah. Nobody questions Haaland, everyone says what a great guy he is, he gave Gundogan the penalty to get his hat-trick. You can see exactly why he's done it and the reason behind it. But then Leeds scored, and if Leeds had come away with anything, you go, well, he should have taken the penalty, but that's hindsight. We all love hindsight. Yeah. But I think it was a very
Do you think it's just Haaland's decision, though? Do you know when you look and you sort of say, the senior players on the pitch, isn't it? Kyle Walker's gone on the pitch. The manager as well will be looking. If he wants to change that, I think it's possibly a collective decision. You know, if you're a manager, you're stood there. Do you say, well, I can see what they're doing? Do you then have the option, don't you, quite quickly to go? No, I'm not.
Again, you can cause a lot of unrest if you're saying swap. You know, as soon as Haaland makes a decision, he gives the ball to Gundogan. It's one of those you've got to allow that to happen. But the mindset will be now. Pep will go in and he will say, "We've all got jobs to do, no matter the result."
So do you think
that'll
be the change? So when he goes in now, do you think he'll say, "Right, if we have this situation again, now until the end of the season, doesn't matter who it is, that's what's going to happen first.
That's your job. That's a warning. Today was a warning. See games out 90, 95 minutes. Do your jobs within that 95 minutes. Whether it's taking a penalty, take the emotion out of it, is one of those. The importance now of the games at the end of the season, it's imperative that players do their jobs. If it's scoring goals, taking penalties, taking free kicks, lining walls up, taking throw-ins, corners, anything, do your job.
Keith, I wondered as well then, talking about doing your job, when it came to the other side, then 90 seconds up the other end of the pitch, City conceded the goal. We said it was a well-taken finish. I looked at it and thought, well, should a Kanji have been doing better there with that header? Where did we give away the goal for you there when Leeds scored?
I think it was again getting caught up in the emotion of the game, missing the penalty. Again, there's a couple of missed possessions, balls being given away, and you get slightly dismantled. But no, it's one of those.
He's unlucky, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah. Could he? In hindsight, yeah, he could obviously could he just get his foot through it? Yeah. We don't often see that, do we?
No.
From sort of, unless it's like a last sort of tackle type thing, but it's like. It just falls right into his path.
And again, that's football, though, isn't it? And that's the beauty of this game. Like I say, again, if one moment in the last 3 or 4 minutes, Leeds could have walked out of here 2-2, and it's one of those. Then rewind it back, and in hindsight, give City a penalty. It's one of those Haaland steps up, takes it, smashes it in, and it's one of those with no question. Well, why not have that mindset?
Yeah, that's
maintain that mindset. That wins you trophies. That wins you the championships.
Which is going to be so vital in the big run into the end of the season.
I think that's what Pep will be going on now. You've had your warning today, chaps. Yeah, we do what we need to do.
And I guess sometimes though that can be quite good though. Just that little reminder and not getting carried away. It kind of can be that little keep the focus.
It's a little positive nudge.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, we spoke about half time. He was in some of the shortlist for Player of the Season, which of course you can go and cast your vote on there. It's on the side of your screen. Ilkay Gundogan's game today couldn't get his hat trick, but 191 touches, 170 passes, 93% of them were completed and accurate. 11 ball recoveries, 4 long balls completed, 2 aerial duels, won 2 goals. I mean, it was a masterclass.
And hit the post.
And he hit the post.
I thought you'd have had that. Whoever's prepared that needs to concentrate on detail. Hey, underachieving.
Listen,
you got to be giving me some money now. Daryl's had a bad few weeks. On a serious note, I mean, literally, that's what we want to see, don't we? Wonderful performances, intelligent, and there was that ball with the outside of his foot, that chance to set at half time into Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah. So many things. I thought he was really good right at the end where there was pressure on. He drove through the middle and he drew the foul, but he did well by getting his body across to win it. Just little things like that, just intelligent for game management. Top performance, senior players is what you need to help the younger ones, and these are tense moments. And again, fatigue will set in with the amount of games that they're playing week in, week out, because mentally these will be like really, really concentrating games now where there's no let off. Yeah, the next few weeks for sure, and they've already had a month of it. So I think we've got to take the positives.
I mean, the ability to rotate, like you said, was 7 changes for them today. and the players that they brought in, the players that they brought off the bench. Gundogan to come and start, De Bruyne to start. The squad disposal that he's got is...
Do you know, when you were looking at the end there, would you say there's one thing from that today that he couldn't take a Gundogan off earlier? A Kevin
He wanted
Bruyne,
three. I think he just wanted three.
Haaland, for instance. Do you know,
Get the third goal,
75, you sort of gone, and he'd settled it and killed it. The third goal earlier.
Yeah.
No, he even said it, that third goal, you could have had the last sort of 20
I think
minutes.
that's probably
really had just control possession. We've seen a bit of it at 2-0. Pep Guardiola sat down, he's probably thinking, where's this going to go? Just having a look. But no, hindsight's great, isn't it?
Yeah, you said that as well. Paul, and just, I know we've touched upon it, but from a Leeds perspective, we knew the task they had at hand, and now they've obviously got the task at hand, the big one, which is to stay in the league. They brought in Sam Allardyce. Is that, you were saying, he wanted to have seen something and not been embarrassed, which they weren't. What do you think that does for them now moving forward with these massive final games for them? What did you to make of it?
I said they wanted a performance from his team today. They were outclassed, as you quite often are at the Etihad, by world-class players. They didn't have possession. You don't expect to have possession. They didn't threaten the Manchester City goal that often, but they got a goal. They got a performance. They got a reaction. Second half, they grew into themselves. Listen, this is a team that's been hurt in recent weeks. They've conceded 6 against Liverpool. OK, you can do that. 5 against Crystal Palace, 4 against Bournemouth, a record number of goals last month. New manager comes in, you go to the Etihad, you're thinking, anything less than 10 here, we're okay.
Yeah.
He wants a performance from his team today. They dug in the second half. He made changes. His in-game management was good. He made positive changes that affected the game. That will feel like a moral victory for him today. The performance that he got out of his team. They weren't blown away, although City had the chances, they had the possession to do that. Leeds weren't blown away. The scoreline's respectable. He was never going to earmark this game as a season-defining game out of the 4 that he's got. The next 2 are key for Leeds. Newcastle at home midweek, West Ham away. They're the 2 games that he'll be looking at. He won't want it to go down to the last game of the season. They're the 2 games that he'll be looking at. And he will take a lot of heart. And he'll learn a lot about certain players out there today.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side, Keith, you know, they've got, speaking of Newcastle, Arsenal have got now go to St James's Park tomorrow.
Yeah.
The gap is now at 4 points. What does that do, one for the City team, but I guess also for Arsenal, you know? I'm sure the players might say they won't watch it, but they'll be well aware there's a 4-point gap now. That's a different type of pressure.
They will be watching, and they know they need to win. It creates that mindset and that fear factor and that pressure of, you know, they can't afford to lose. But good players, that they perform on those in those games, and that's crucial now. All the managers now will be saying that it's one of those. It's about us, what we do, what our game plan is. Make sure we deliver. Make sure we turn up, game in, game out. 3-4 games to go until the end of the season now. It's important that we do our job. And again, reiterating now on what Paul was saying about Sam, the players, the Leeds players can walk out today head hold hard. Yeah. They can be proud that they've had a go. Sam knows that he's got something to work with, and he will be overemphasised in the positives. Hey, we went there and we did well. We competed. Yeah, we got outplayed, but we stayed in the game. Showed good character, good heart, and these are all positive messages that you can put back into the changing room. And the changing room now they need it, and they need a Sam Allardyce, and they need positivity.
And Brownie, for City now, next game, Real Madrid, 7 changes from the West Ham game, so I think, there's players we know who were rested that will definitely be coming in. It's a big ask at the Bernabeu, but, what are you hoping to see and what will now be the mood like, do you think, building up to it?
Well, it's just brilliant, isn't it? This is what we've waited for that Arsenal game for a long time, then the Bayern Munich game, all dispatched really, really well. Good result again today going into it. This is the one when you're looking, you're going away from home and saying, can we get a really good platform for the home leg? I just think it's about controlling possession, trying to outrun them wherever. I think that's important that we get a Bernardo Silva, for instance, on the pitch. For me, I think that makes the difference. Kevin De Bruyne, can he unlock? So we'll be to see, will Alvarez come in? Will he not? So there's that team choice. We've got a problem slightly with Nathan Ake. So that was a worry where the ice went onto a muscle injury, which is a bit concerning when the game comes so quickly. That risk to reward. Do you wait 5-6 days and then he's gone? Do you do it and then lose him for the remainder of the season with some big games to go? But I just think we're on a roll. Pep likes that momentum. And I think it's got to just continue. I think the players will be desperate to play in this game. Yeah. Do you know when, with no disrespect, the level they're at, this game here was like, it's a really important one. We've got to be here. The next one is like, they've got a feeling. Do you know, that's the one that they're really up for and they've been waiting for to put it right. So this is the top end game that this football club now, that's the norm. Yeah. And it wasn't before. This now is just like, here we go again, we've got every chance. They will not want to play Manchester City. I think everyone's got to take note. Huge club, it's going to be a brilliant game.
Brilliant game indeed, and that's 10 wins, consecutive wins in a row now for this City side. And I guess as well, there's a slight bonus, Paul, that the second fixture is here at the Etihad. So you go there and maybe just don't lose it, push you in a very strong position in the return. Like, what are you making of City's kind of final run in?
Oh, listen, I think Real Madrid it's not going to be an easy game, but I think City are going to be the better team. I think City are the better team. But you look at the quality of players that Real Madrid have got, you never rule Real Madrid out. You know, when Real Madrid come to town, it's the big deal. But I think City are strong enough to cope with that. I think City have got better players. For me personally, City for the treble. I really do. I think, and I personally want them to. From a Tottenham point of view, I don't want Arsenal winning the league. From a Leeds point of view, I don't want Man United winning the FA Cup. And from a personal point of view, I'd love to see an English team win the Champions League. So let's have the treble, please.
Oh, Paul, I tell you what. Thank you, Paul Robinson. I tell you what, that is the perfect note to finish on, but not before. We had a quick question from Carol, and actually, Keith, when I went back to my seats to sit with my dad, he asked me the same thing, so I thought, I've got to ask it. Are you, Carol wanted to know, are you actively looking to go back into management next season, or happy to wait for the right opportunity?
No, I'm desperate to get back in. I understand the timing of it now. End of the season is waiting for the next opportunity. There will be managerial changes in the summer. And again, then you have to wait for the first round. Unfortunately, being in the profession, too many happen. But you know, when it does happen, there's a potential opportunity.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Keith. And Brownie, quick one for you. Any more marathons for you, or do you think you've done your
No,
thing
I've
for a
got
bit?
to leave it. Charity football game tomorrow. That could be worse than the marathon.
Tell you what, good luck to whoever sent them in against Brownie in that, because I've tried and it's not fun.
Just wear your shin pads.
Might leave a little late one. It could be actually Ricky Hatton on the opposite side.
Okay, so you might,
So I've got to be very careful. I might be able to just swing something my way if I do catch him on nutmegging. He's my target for the nutmeg.
That's it.
Guaranteed.
Gents, thank you. Well, listen, a bit of business before I go. So we've got the National League final for our under-18s. Manchester City take on West Ham. That will be available on Recast this week. We're going to be showing that exclusively, so get involved with that, and also on City Plus. Then you can see as well on your screen there, Player of the Season vote is now open. Who is your Player of the Season? You can go online and cast your vote. We will be with you, of course, as well for the big game. First leg against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu on Tuesday night. Natalie will be there. We've also got FG and Nadem in Madrid. They'll be bringing you all the activities going on before the game. So exciting. But until then, enjoy the bank holiday weekend. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Keith. And thank you to Paul. What a brilliant show. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon. Good evening.
To Mahrez! 1-0 to Manchester City!
Can you believe it, Rodrigo again?
Benzema against Edison.
It's unstoppable that he's done that. What a night for Real Madrid. Disappointment for Man City.
We were close. Our destiny is in our hands.
We're going to go for it.
We have hunger to go again, to try to beat them.
The more far you get in that competition, the bigger the hunger, to win it.
This is a different Manchester City team.
The way that City are playing, the energy that they have.
If you want to win this competition, you have to beat Real Madrid.